Just waiting for Nick.
Hello.
Oh, look at that touch.
Yeah, sorry about
That is there, isn't it? How you doing?
that. Yeah, right. Not too bad.
Yeah, good,
Let
good.
me try and sort this out.
Yeah, I've just
That's
realised.
a bit better.
Yeah, likewise. Um, well, appreciate you joining us. I think yeah, there's going to be a good conversation to be had, and I think everyone's looking forward to kind of finding out a little bit more. Especially, I know myself. This month is an important one for everyone, and I think it's just been heightened with everything going on. I think it would be great to start from the beginning and just get a bit of an intro into who Nick Frendo is for everyone that doesn't know. I know we could go on for a while, but that's because I know. But yeah, just give us a top line intro to Nick Frendo.
Oh shit. Well, where do I start? So I guess. Well, first off, I am a cyclist. I've always been cycling, and I love cycling. I also struggled for a number of years with my mental. Well, I still do actually. I'm currently going through a fairly difficult patch as we speak. So I struggle with my mental health. It culminated in 2 suicide attempts back in 2017. And I've pretty much set out since then to, I guess, help myself, but in turn, try and help other people by sharing my story and being fairly candid about what I've been through and what I'm going through. Men are, in particular, are pretty useless at talking and expressing themselves. I was as typical as it gets, really. And really, I just want to, try and prevent other men going through what I went through. That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, thanks. And I think for anyone that doesn't know that we've only recently really linked up. And I think just kind of just chatting with yourself and kind of understanding your story for myself has definitely made me more aware of how just talking to people certainly helps. I think what would be great is to understand from your point of view how the bike has helped. Because I know myself,
I'm just
kind of jumping on a bike. Yeah. Oh, did you drop out for a sec?
Yeah. I keep losing you.
Oh right. I was just saying, just picking up on kind of like the bike and how important it is to kind of your journey and helping that kind of momentum of being able to talk about it and using the bike as a tool.
It's well, so I think I take something slightly different out of it for a lot of people. So everything I do is kind of cycling focused. So whether it's my previous business or work, fun, life, everything revolves around cycling. So for me, it's not actually been the escape it is for a lot of people. So a lot of people see cycling as a way of finding some headspace and just using it as a tool to relax. But when it's your kind of life, that it can actually get on top of you, as it has done recently. But what cycling does do, and I still find it, and I found it today, is it just enables you to drop your guard a bit. Or it almost makes you drop your guard when you're with people. And I find that I bottled everything up for years and years and years, and then as I moved back to London from Girona, I started riding with much younger people, and I found myself talking and opening up kind of by accident, and then realised that this has been going on for ages. And clients, I was a tour guide, and clients would open up and talk to me when we were on trips. Ever since, the more I've experienced it, the more riding I do, the more people I meet. Cycling's a great tool for getting people to open up. If it's like you're in the mountains and you're struggling, you could be in Regent's Park, or today I was out on a gravel ride with a friend, and it was just good to talk, really. And I think cycling just encourages it. And I don't think there's many other sports, pastimes, whatever you want to call it, that do that.
Yeah, for sure. I know myself is certainly something that I feel like that. I feel just talking about, if I'm out on a ride with someone, I feel like I can talk about anything really, because it's not in a confined space, tend to be outside, and even just the air going through
You're
the
next to
lungs.
each other, not you're not sort of like this. You're side by side, and you know you're probably wearing sunglasses. So you know all this just aids it. It makes it easier to drop your guard. And you know once you get going, it's to continue. And I found, you know, ever since I decided that I wanted to go on this journey, mission, whatever you want to call it, to help people, cycling's been a really great tool and enabled me to do an awful lot and reach a lot of people. And you know, just to see what other people are taking out of it when they go for a ride. You know, it might be, I don't know, and I don't race, and I, you know, not one of the Regent's Park smashers. But I can see people, you know, all different walks of life getting so much out of just riding a bike, and it's, you know, it's not just physically but mentally good for you as well.
For sure, and I think there's it'd be good to for anyone that doesn't know, just to understand kind of your work with Movember, and kind of how that kind of came about, the work that you've been doing with them, and then we can kind of flow into kind of what November has looked like this month, because I know there's quite a lot of stuff going on for yourself.
Yeah, so it started out when so back in constantly getting my years mixed up. So in 2018, I opened up. So my two attempts were in 2017. And in 2018, I opened up and decided I wanted to do something to help others. Initially, it just started off as an idea between me and a friend who's a pretty famous photographer, and we decided that it'd be a good idea to do a ride and raise some money. The initial idea was just, you know, ride across the Pyrenees, east to west and back. He'd shoot it, I'd ride it. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, oh, well, that's kind of been done. It's, you know, I want to do something a bit different. So I met up with the guys at Movember in London. And I said, you know, where do I start? What do I do? How do I raise money? And I was just looking for a charity, really, and I connected really well with them. They were really supportive, and I've done 3, I think, events. I've held talks at their London and Melbourne offices, and they've just been really supportive from day one. So my first ride, I rode from Biarritz to Venice, so across the Pyrenees, Alps and Dolomites. Second ride was the Dolomites in a day, where I tried to do as many passes as I could. And the third one, I rode 4,382 kilometers, because in 2017, 4,382 men took their own lives in the UK. And currently, this is a Movember thing, but it's also going to continue until I can't do it anymore. But currently, for this month, I'm riding. I'm not just riding, but I'm meeting up with someone every day, and you know, having a coffee and checking in, coffee, beer, tea, whatever. Just generally checking in on someone, because it's been a fairly horrific year all round. And one of the problems with you know, depression, anxiety, mental health, isolation is not good. And a lot of people that might not have experienced mental health problems previously could have found themselves struggling this year in particular. And I thought, heading into winter, you know, everyone's going to be indoors, the weather's not very good, and I thought it'd be a good idea just to offer some, you know, offer a friendly face if I could. So the goal is to ride every day and meet someone for a coffee, and I'm going to be continuing that until I can't find anyone else to have a coffee with.
If anyone
Um,
wants, if anyone wants to go for a ride and doesn't have a buddy, drop Nick a note.
yeah, it's even just I've met a few people who, so we've been going through lockdown. A lot of people are working from home. They might have quite intense working from home days, and a lot of people will go from their bedroom to the kitchen to wherever they've got their computer set up and not really escape that. And it's not a great place to be in. So I've even just ridden to friends' houses, or this is going to sound weird, but randoms on the internet, and taken a flask of coffee over and sat on the doorstep.
Sure.
And then I've gone out on rides with people. And I just want to continue. I want to encourage as many people as possible just to make sure that they check in, whether it's just sending a text or, FaceTime, Zoom, which we're all probably sick of. But just having some, a bit of an escape from being stuck at home.
On a personal note, we're 25 days into November now, and you've been trying to see someone every day. I think obviously there's a huge importance about talking about it, and it's okay. It's that phrase, isn't it? It's okay not to be okay. How have you felt personally, having kind of not made that statement, but said, right, I'm going to see someone every day? Has that actually had an impact on yourself and your own mental health?
Yeah, massive. I mean, I'm not a particularly outgoing person. I'm not particularly sociable, so kind of forcing this on myself is really difficult, and putting the pressure on myself to keep this up and keep doing it every day, and to keep on top of the social media side of things to make sure I'm spreading this positive message, and I'm checking in on people, and then every now and then I just think, you know what, no one's checked in on me. No one's asked how I'm doing. And that kind of dawned on me the weekend. And I thought, I'm giving so much. I feel like I'm giving so much here. And it would just be nice from time to time if someone sent me a message maybe and said, how are you?
Yeah.
Or how are you doing? You okay?
Yeah.
And that's probably been the biggest struggle.
Yeah.
The riding every day isn't an issue. I could, whether it's 20k or 200k, it doesn't really matter. But and I do this regularly. I put myself in these positions where I'm not particularly comfortable, and sometimes I get away with it. Currently, I'm not. But I get lots of messages of encouragement, knowing that I'm helping a lot of other people. And some of the messages you get, some are incredible, some are heartbreaking. But when you're doing some good, there's you just want to crack on and continue. But then it just I do just end up putting more pressure on myself as well.
And do you have any advice for anyone in terms of, because I know I get it. I kind of sometimes wake up and I'm just like, I don't really want to see anyone, or I don't want to do this. But then you go and do it, and you're actually like, why? Like, it's that barrier, isn't it? It's that kind of getting to that stage of going, actually, this is going to help me. I might have one conversation that actually helps, even if it is just saying, look, I'm not feeling great today. Can we push it an hour? Do you have any advice on kind of what's worked?
So definitely, the worst thing you could do is bottle anything up. Again, and also, from a cycling perspective, have you ever been out on a bad ride? Have you ever got back from a ride and like, I wish I didn't go out? The answer is normally, I would say no.
No.
There might be a couple where it's type 2 fun, where you didn't particularly enjoy getting soaking wet or freezing cold, or a driver might have cut you up or something. But generally, for me, every now and then I wake up and I'm like, oh, do I have to do this? And I get back home and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did. It cleared my head a little bit. But the worst thing I think you can do is bottle anything up and not talk. Not necessarily having, these deep, meaningful conversations where you're going to find all the answers to what your problems are, but just being able to have a conversation where you might get a little light relief. It might be a break. It might be a bit of a a bit of a weight off your shoulders. And you know, that was the biggest thing with me when I came back here. I was kind of okay for about a year. I got some help. I met a new person, and life was all right. Work was going okay. Everything was just ticking along, and I was like, you know, I don't really need to deal with this anymore. I would say I was better, but you know, I was coping, and I wasn't having the episodes that I had previously. But I still had this cloud over me. You know, I hadn't told my girlfriend or my family or any of my friends what I'd done. You know, maybe 2 or 3 people knew. And I thought I could leave it that way. But then when I decided I wanted to do the first ride and raise some money for charity, I was like, you know, if I want to do this genuinely, I've got to tell people why I'm doing it. And November 23rd, 2018, I kind of put it on Instagram that I attempted suicide twice, and this is, you know, what I'm doing about it. Almost, I just felt this weight on my shoulders. You know, I wasn't better. I didn't all of a sudden change into this sort of, you know, life and soul of the party. But the change I noticed, I didn't feel any the weight and the pressure of you know, keeping all that to myself had gone. And I would encourage anyone, you know, don't bottle these things up, because even now I still bottle things up every now and then, but as soon as I let it out rather than exploding, the weight's really lifted, and I will feel better. And even just saying to someone, you know what, I'm not feeling good today. I don't have to explain why. You know, I never feel like I've got to explain, you know, or even I might not even have the answer. But it helps me just to say, you know what, at the moment I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what's wrong, but I'm not feeling good. That helps.
And is there a difference from kind of your own personal experience from having that conversation and saying I'm not okay, and the difference between someone else getting in touch with you and saying, are you okay? Do you find that there is a difference, and should we also be encouraging people to check in?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not just, so this is what it's not just about people who are struggling that need to reach out to friends, family, or professional help. It's trying to make people more aware, you know, being able to spot the signs that someone, you know, you're in a circle, your friends, family, loved ones, is struggling. So it's really hard to spot. But there might be a change in, you know, they might get short-tempered, they might be exhausted, they might be isolating themselves. You know, changing someone's personality because circumstances might change. You know, a lot of people are out of work at the moment. A lot of people are struggling financially. And it's just, you know, some people are able to pick up on when I'm not feeling good, and they will just send me a message or give me a call. And it makes a difference. You know, it makes a real difference. And they don't need to have the answers. You know, just that, are you okay? 3 years ago, someone asked me if I was okay. I would have said yes, try to shut the conversation down and hide. Whereas now if someone says, am I okay? Generally, I'm quite happy saying no, or yeah, everything's fine. And if I say everything's fine, it means, you know, I'm all right.
Yeah. Do you find when...
And it's, you know...
Sorry. I was just going to say, do you find if you actively say to someone, I'm not feeling okay, do you find that then that potentially sometimes sparks a conversation from that person feeling
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Actually, I need to tell you that I'm not feeling okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I get dozens of messages on Instagram. I mean, and this could get quite overwhelming as well when, you know, if I put a post up where I'm feeling negative, and then all of a sudden 15, 20 people then start telling me how they're feeling the same way, it can have quite a negative effect on me, because I want to make people feel good, and I'm doing this so that other people can feel good. And when you all of a sudden, people tell you they're not feeling good, or you hear about the suicide statistics, or someone might say, I lost a friend, or it's, I do want to encourage conversations, but sometimes it's really hard, and I've had times where I might have got 20 or 30 messages, and 3 or 4 of those are people telling me about a friend or family member that they've lost, and then it might be another 10 people telling me how they're really struggling, and I'm just like, why am I doing this? It's not having any impact at all. And then every now and then I get one message where I'm like, actually, no, that's why I'm doing it. That's exactly why I'm doing it, because of what that person has just said. And it's, it's one of the things I really struggle with. I haven't figured it out, and sometimes it's okay, and sometimes I get overwhelmed by it all.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not the only person, and I'm sure you've met throughout your kind of chats and stuff, you've met other people that kind of have similar thoughts and have similar struggles. I think what you're doing is great, talking about it, trying to push through it, and I'm hoping at one point it kind of clicks, and there's enough people that there's a big support group. I think being the champion for that is massively helpful, and I think anyone watching this is probably fighting your corner for you to keep pushing. I think what would be great is, I know you've got it'd be good to find out a bit more about what people can do to support. I know you've got an exciting partnership with Factor that's helping on that side of things. It'd be good just to tell people how they can get involved, even if it's just hitting you up for a ride.
There's so many different ways. So this month, there's only a few days left, but this month I'm giving away a Factor O2 frame set. So Factor have supported me for the last month on my ride. They've been amazing, and they've very kindly donated a frame set. There's a £20 raffle. You can find details all over my Instagram and my website. So we're giving away the Factor frame set. All that money goes to Movember. You can donate straight to my, even if you don't want a Factor and you want to donate to Movember and all their work, feel free. If you want to meet up for a coffee and help me with my meaningful miles, that's great. As I say, I'm continuing that, not just this month, but the goal is to continue it as long as I can, really, and if I can get to the end of January and a few people have got through those dark, horrible nights, and a friendly face and a coffee has helped them, then great. If I can just keep shouting and stay on the road, brilliant. So I've set up a crowdfunding page to try and help get me through the next few months, because I'm currently unemployed and trying to make this last as long as I can. So crowdfunding would be great, and just keep an eye on the website. Sign up to newsletter. There's loads of things going on. I've had a kit designed by a particularly famous artist that's going to go live in a few weeks' time. Can't say much more about that, but it's amazing. And he's an amazing guy as well, who related to what I've been through, what I've gone through, and asked if he could help. So yeah, I think we'll be finalising it this week, putting a little teaser out, and then probably it'll be available for orders January, February time, I think. And the website of my
that's through Ascend, isn't it?
Yeah, so I've set up my website, which is ascend.cc. Ascend kind of comes from, I guess, like rising above and a journey, and that journey never really. I don't expect to be. I have a mental illness, and I don't ever expect to find a cure for it, as it were. So, life's a journey, and hopefully I can rise above it. So Ascend means an awful lot, I guess. So we've got all kinds of content on there. There's the Ascend YouTube channel, which I launched yesterday. And the goal really is just to as much content around mental health as we can. So not just me, but various photographers, filmmakers, and just, you know, people that want to tell their story and share, because I figure not everyone can relate to what I've been through. And, you know, there might be people listening to this that can't relate to me at all. You know, they've got different experiences, whether it's depression, anxiety, eating disorders. They might be struggling, but for very different reasons to what I do and I did. But, you know, if I do an interview or tell someone's story who's been through, you know, the more stories I can tell, the more relatable Ascend becomes, and hopefully the more people we can help. I want us to be a bit of a signpost for people who are struggling. You know, I want us to be able to point people in the right direction. We haven't got the answers, but, you know, I found it really hard to get help, and I didn't really know where to look. And not all the obvious options are great or work for everyone. So, you know, the more stories we can tell, the more experiences we can share, hopefully the more resources we can find, and, you know, be a bit of a beacon for people. So that's what Ascend is and I want to achieve.
Brilliant. Well, look, really appreciate that. I think if we can just sign it off by, what's the best way for people if they wanted to get in touch? Is it dropping you a message? Is it?
Yeah, so whether it's message me on Instagram or through the website, or Instagram's probably the best. But yeah, drop me a message, and I'm based in Northwest London, but whether it's, you know, Regent's, Laps and Coffee, Surrey, Kent, Essex, you just want to go for a ride, or you're stuck at your desk at home, I can bring a flask of decent coffee over, and, you know, just give you a little bit of a break.
Brilliant. Well, appreciate your time, Nick. It's been great to chat, and yeah, I look forward to seeing what else is coming up and what else you got going on, and seeing the Tash at the end of the month.
It's going, trust me.
Nice one, Nick. All right, well, we'll see you soon. Thanks for that. Appreciate your time.
Cheers, man. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye. Bye.